warm welcome to all of you watching the SME Awards 2019 online. Your opinion and experience both count. While sharing your views on social media, please don't forget to use the hashtag D&B SME. As a courtesy to fellow guests, I request you to put your mobile phones on silent mode so that we can all concentrate on the event's proceedings. Thank you. This is the fourth time in a row that the two prestigious organizations, Dun & Bradstreet and RBL Bank Limited, have come together for the awards, showing their firm commitment and belief in the SME sector. And today's event is indeed special as the SME Business Excellence Awards has completed 10 years since its inception. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for making it possible for us to come this far. Well, tonight is not just about awards. We are also showcasing Dun & Bradstreet's publication, Leading SMEs of India 2019. This is the 10th edition of this book, which is the compendium for anyone who wants information about the high-performing SMEs and the performance of the SME sector in India. The role of SMEs is getting bigger each year as India emerges as the fastest growing major economy in the world. The sector accounts for 45% of the manufacturing output and for nearly 29% share in India's GDP, something that should make all of us proud. I am sure our esteemed speakers today will highlight some key points on the importance of SMEs to India. As a step forward, and true to the commitment to nurture and encourage SMEs, Dun & Bradstreet and RBL Bank, through this platform, will commemorate and acknowledge the feat of these entrepreneurs. We are gathered here tonight to felicitate the star performers at the SME Business Excellence Awards 2019. As you all know, that Dun & Bradstreet has been identifying SMEs with tremendous growth potential for the past decade on this very platform. Since this is the 10th year, in addition to the award ceremony, we have added a new flavor. We have identified some fantastic companies, or some of our previous contestants to be specific, who were SMEs once and have today graduated in leaps and bounds. As a tribute to their growth, we shall be felicitating these companies today as they're actually a source of inspiration for every SME. It would be interesting for us to know who these companies are. The additional highlights of this event are the notable business personalities present here tonight. To help us serve you better, we have enclosed a feedback form, and it would be great if you could please fill in the same and share it with us. Without much ado, let's kickstart the event. Well, may I please call on the stage the dignitaries for the evening. We have with us a very special chief guest who will be with us very shortly since he's busy in a parliamentary session. He'll join us at about 7 o'clock. Our chief guest for the day is Shri Pratap Chandra Sarangi, Honorable Minister of State for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises and Animal Husbandry, Dairying and Fisheries, Government of India. May I please call on stage Mr. Vincent Valadrez, Head Commercial Banking at RBL Bank Limited. Sir, can you please come up on stage? Mr. Dibyendu Bose, Director of Admissions and Financial Aid at Indian School of Business. And Mr. Manish Sinha, Managing Director, India, Dun & Bradstreet, on the dais, please. Can we hear it for them? We are delighted to have such eminent personalities here with us today. A big round of applause for all of them, ladies and gentlemen. We now request Mr. Manish Sinha, the Managing Director, who is, to present a floral bouquet as soon as the chief guest walks in. Dun & Bradstreet, as you may know, is an international knowledge company that has the largest worldwide commercial database. Aside from being the global leader in commercial data, Dun & Bradstreet is known for the insights that can be generated from the data to help the businesses in taking informed decisions. Dun & Bradstreet India has been operating since 1997 and has been tracking various critical sectors of the economy, the SME sector among them, for nearly a decade. Mr. Manish Sinha, the Managing Director of Dun & Bradstreet India, will elaborate on this very shortly. May I now introduce Mr. Sinha to you. Prior to joining Dun & Bradstreet, Mr. Sinha was the CEO and India country leader at Equifax, responsible for the bureau and analytics businesses in India. Before that, he was with HSBC India in their retail banking business, first as the head of consumer assets and then as head of customer value management. Earlier, he worked in the mergers and acquisition departments for globally renowned companies, McKinsey & Company and Arthur Andersen. I now invite Mr. Manish Sinha, Managing Director of Dun & Bradstreet India, to make the welcome address.
Thank you, Divya. Ladies and gentlemen, our title partner, RBL Bank, our principal partner, ISB, sponsors, people from the media, thank you very much. Good evening, and thank you for being here. Welcome to the SME Business Excellence Awards 2019 by Dun & Bradstreet and RBL Bank. It is my privilege to be your host along with RBL Bank and ISB and to make a few opening comments on MSMEs, to put into context their role in the Indian economy and to put into context what they need from people such as all of us in this room. So let me start by reading an interesting definition. This is how the North Star is defined. The North Star has been used for the purposes of navigation for centuries. Acting as a guiding light, people have used its brightness and prominence in the sky to ensure they are traveling in the right direction. The principle of the North Star works in an interesting way in the world of business. A few months ago, the government of India gave us something like a North Star for the short term. I say short term because they defined the North Star as India becoming a 5 trillion economy, and they defined the short term, or we've defined the short term as by 2025. It's an interesting construct, whether you believe it or not. What's important is to imagine what a 5 trillion economy in 2025 is going to look like. And one interesting aspect of that, and the role of MSMEs in that, is that the government projects that in the economy that will be $5 trillion, MSMEs will be about 50% of the GDP. That's a very interesting ratio because the role of MSMEs today is only about 30%. For them to be 50% in such a short period of time means that for every 100 rupees of GDP that is added, 75 needs to come from MSMEs. Now that's not a stretch target set by the government, but that is a measure of the unrealized potential that exists within the MSME world. And by the way, from the Dun & Bradstreet research, let me tell you, as far as India is concerned, 99.9% of all commercial enterprises in India would be what you would categorize as MSMEs. So the question is, if MSMEs need to contribute 75 rupees out of every 100 rupees over the next 5 years, remember that number is 30 rupees out of every 100 rupees at this point in time. So to grow that to 75 rupees, what is it that is needed for them to reach that kind of performance? Well, Dun & Bradstreet does a lot of research into MSMEs, trying to address various aspects of insight. And part of the research is about understanding what they need to be able to do better. Every single piece of research gives one conclusion, and that is access to finance as the single biggest thing that holds MSMEs back. For those of you who have been here for the MSME Award through the years that we've partnered with RBL Bank, it's not an accident, because RBL Bank also understands the role that it can play for MSMEs, and it doesn't do that only for the sake of doing good for the economy. As I'll describe in a minute, it's actually also very profitable. It's also a very sensible thing to do, and simultaneously you perform a huge role for the economy. So the number one thing that comes out in our research is that making low-cost and sensible finance available to MSMEs is one of the biggest things that will drive their growth. The second and third are things that we have talked less about, but are also quite important. The second most important thing that will enable the growth of MSMEs is cluster development. I'll describe that in a minute, but that is actually second only to access to low-cost finance. And the third thing that we can do to help MSMEs growth is something that is a little bit more obvious, and that is access to markets. So let's start with the access to finance. At this point in time, we do have a quantification of how much of finance has currently been met. So we call that the revenue pool, measured on the basis of the supply side. I say supply side because that's the met demand. And that number is about 87 lakh crores, or 87 trillion rupees. Of that total met demand, only about 12% comes from formal sources of finance. The rest comes from equity, but by far the largest source is informal sources of finance. And within that 12%, half of it comes from public sector banks. So there is a huge role for the wider ecosystem to play to actually enable access to finance. What's interesting is that we don't need to do it just for helping MSMEs. We should be doing it because it has a huge impact on profitability. If you look at the data here, the return on incremental capital is the highest in India compared with all the countries that we've looked at for MSMEs. Now, part of it is what I call, or what we in the data industry call, the selection bias. If only a few MSMEs actually have access to finance, it is but natural that the bar is set so high that the return on incremental capital is very high. But be that as it may, there is a huge return that is available for those who participate in this part of the sector. If you look at the right side of the page, what you'll see is that whether you're a micro, small, or medium enterprise, entities that have access to external borrowing give approximately the same level of return. But those that don't, especially on the micro side, actually have a very low return on capital. So there is there's a huge profit pool that is there and available for people who participate in this area. The second accelerator for MSME development is what I referred to earlier as cluster development. Clusters are areas where the ecosystem that enables some area or some industry to grow comes together. In India, it's variously known as special economic zones, special processing zones, and so on and so forth, industry parks and so on. It's actually not such a unique concept. If you look at all the countries, and we've mapped all the countries along two axes, as you go left to right, it is the extent of cluster development, the evolution of clusters, with right being where the clusters are most evolved. And as you go up the y-axis from the bottom to the top is basically the global competitiveness of the countries. And what you'll see is a very neat correlation. It's not an accident that the cluster development is very, very strongly correlated to the competitiveness of the countries. Now, India is somewhere in the middle. It's actually doing quite well when it comes to the x-axis. It's a long way right, or at least on the right half of the graph when it comes to cluster development, but it's on the lower band when it comes to the competitiveness. But that's one thing that will really help MSMEs grow. The reason for that is clusters combine the pools and the needs of MSMEs in a manner that makes it economic and easy to serve them. The third accelerator of MSMEs is access to markets. And that's something that's intuitively obvious. There are some parts of access to markets which they can do by themselves. There are some parts that they cannot address if it is something like geographical distance from a home country. If you're trying to address a market that's very far away, it's something that you can't solve by yourself. However, there is another group, and those are marked in red on the chart out here, which are things that the external ecosystem can partner with them for. For instance, finding business partners. For instance, securing export finance. For instance, online payment alternatives and so on. Every one of us can find a role that we can play. I'll give you a small example of something that Dun & Bradstreet is trying to do and working with the government for. Dun & Bradstreet, as my colleague Divya mentioned earlier, is about almost 200 years old. And 200 years back, it was set up as the primary repository of data on enterprises. There are 4 US presidents who actually worked for Dun & Bradstreet, including Abraham Lincoln. So that's how far back our history goes. From all this time, the position that Dun & Bradstreet's database has is that the owners of global supply chains look to Dun & Bradstreet as the first port of call when they are looking to expand and add new participants to their supply chain. I kind of visualize it a little bit like the picture that you see, is that we are a natural shop floor window where if you wanted to actually get visibility into the global supply chain, we have about 2.5 lakh global players who are constantly reviewing our database to see what kind of partnership opportunities they actually have. If you are, for instance, aspiring to if you're an MSME that's aspiring to take advantage of some part of the global supply chain that might move out of China as a result of the global trade war, the chances are that that owner of the supply chain is looking at a Dun & Bradstreet database to see if you are a worthwhile partner. So we're working with the government of India to see if we can have more MSMEs represented within our database and getting access to the eyeballs of the owners of these of the global supply chains. And obviously we are trying to do it in a way that's not unprofitable, but equally we would like to do it in a way that actually has a fair sharing of value with MSMEs as well. That's not the only way. One of the ways in 2019 that MSMEs can have access to the market is actually through the digital channels. Right? So you may be sitting out here, but if you are digitally aware, you have the ability to be known to the global supply chains and to your prospective customers. And that's an interesting ratio. So if you look at the extent to which MSMEs are digitally aware or digitally enabled, there is a huge polarization of their performance. So we have a small set of MSMEs that are what we call digitally engaged. They tend to have about 11% of their total exports come from the global supply chain, and the year-on-year revenue growth is about 19%. The problem is that only 2% of MSMEs actually fall in that category. At the opposite end of the spectrum, more than 2/3 of the MSMEs are what we call digitally offline. They have only about 11% growth year on year. and only about 1% of their exports, of their revenues comes from international supply chains. So in summary, India has a North Star for the next few years. That North Star helps us imagine what the world might look like as a $5 trillion economy. To get there, approximately 75 out of every 100 rupees of GDP that is created will come from MSMEs. And in order for MSMEs to make that kind of impact, they need to have three things, by far the biggest thing being access to finance, secondly, cluster development, and thirdly, access to global markets. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening once again. Thank you for being here. It's our privilege to be here. And on behalf of me and our partners, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sinha. Well, the minister has arrived and we're waiting for him to enter this door right now. Good evening and a very warm welcome, sir. It's our pleasure to have with us Shri Pratap Chandra Sarangi, Honorable Minister of State for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises and Animal Husbandry, Dairying and Fisheries, Government of India. Sir, it's an honor to have you here today with us. A very warm welcome to this event. May I now request Mr. Manish Sinha, Managing Director, India, Dun & Bradstreet, to please welcome him with a bouquet. Thank you so much. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you here today. Well, I'm sure many of you here would want to go through this presentation that's happening here today.
Out here. Since I'm from a B school background, so I'll start with class participation. So we call it there as CP. So the first question I want to ask, I'll start with a question and end with a question. The first question is a pretty easy one. Which B school is the only one from India to feature in the top 25 in the world according to the latest Financial Times rankings? Oh, fantastic. Everybody knows the answer, it seems. It is ISB, yeah. In fact, recently the Forbes rankings also came in, and we are ranked by Forbes as the number 7th in the world globally amongst all the one-year MBA programs, and number 1 in Asia. Plus, Financial Times ranks us number 4 in Asia and obviously number 1 in India. So that's where ISB stands today. Also, we have our 10,700 plus alumni distributed in 41 countries globally. So anywhere you look at, you will surely meet an ISB alum. In fact, today also I met a couple of alums out here. And if you look at companies around the globe today, whether it be the WhatsApp Chief Business Officer earlier, he was then OYO, he's the CEO of OYO Real Estate. You look at Unilever Bangladesh CEO, SAP, wherever you look at, you will find ISB alums at the CXO level positions. We have more than 500 CXO level alums and about 550 plus entrepreneurs. Why I'm telling you, obviously, to talk about ISB, but one more thing I want to emphasize over here is that given that MSME awards ceremony we are here at, ISB in itself is a very, very young school. We started only in the year 2001, and in such a short span, a startup has actually become a big MSME, and in itself is creating global impact. So that's the point I want to highlight, because it all starts with a dream. All of you have started your own companies or been associated in some way or the other. It starts always with the right intent, with the dream, and then you start walking together. In fact, in the early days, if I go back to the ISB history, in early days, ISB has its own share of challenges like each of you would have. We started thinking that we'll in the late 90s, when the idea was born, we were thinking that we would then possibly in Delhi, then in Mumbai, then in Bangalore, but finally we ended up being in Hyderabad. And at that time, it was not that time on the global map, but we believed in our vision. Our executive board was very clear from day one that, we want to create a world-class research-driven management institution in India, and that's how we started. So that was one thing, having the dream, the vision. The second thing is actually making that vision a reality. So when we started, we decided we will be acting differently. What that does that mean? In those years, other schools also starting with I's, but not possibly ending with E, they had all were ruling the Indian MBA space, and they were actually 2-year MBA programs. But we decided we are going to be innovative. We decided on a 1-year MBA program. We went against the mold, and what we focused rather on how we can create a compelling value proposition. So again, for people who are starting up, that becomes a critical component. What is the differentiator you bring on? And how we created our differentiators, we decided, we have from early on, we have the corporate tie-ups, the industry partnerships. In fact, the executive board of ISB from day one, if you look at, they were all who's who of India Inc., if not Global Inc. So that's one thing we were focused on. The second thing was also creating a world-class infrastructure. That was something unheard of, the amount of investment we made there. You were talking about, Manish, access to capital. We didn't have access to capital, but the idea was so strong. Then once the idea is there, you start convincing people around you, and they start buying into the idea and how that idea then shapes up. And then we got global faculty, so learn from the best, but customize it according to Indian conditions. Those 3-4 facets in the early on actually helped us how we are going to shape up our dream, how we are going to implement our dream. That's how the journey had started, and over the years we have been always focusing on a couple of other tenets which you surely would appreciate. The focus on innovation, entrepreneurship. So when we talk about innovation, it's about curriculum innovation. So every other year, for every program, we are constantly taking feedback from the industry and trying to modify, trying to adapt what is going to be relevant not only today, but how is it going to be relevant tomorrow. So that's the relevance part becomes critically important. And then we also were, in terms of entrepreneurship, we've ensured that, we all know that entrepreneurs and the family businesses have had a key role for India to come such a long way. We have our own Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at ISB, as well as we have an accelerator and incubator called D Labs. So we were focused onto that. In fact, I myself, I'm an ISB alum as well as an MIT alum. And what I saw in the MIT Harvard ecosystem, that same level of thought leadership we could imbibe in ISB. For centuries, those institutions have survived and thrived, even though organizations have not. So that thought leadership aspect we always kept imbibed in ourselves at ISB. In fact, our current dean, he has been a dean at US University, top university, and later on provost at Singapore Management University. So what we get, best insights from the East as well as from the best. Having said that, we are constantly evolving. We are working. We have set up multiple research centers and institutes of excellence where we are working with industry very closely, trying to solve industry relevant problems. And I'm sure in a couple of days back, I was in Singapore in a conference, and top B schools were represented there. Everybody is starting to recognize and appreciate ISB. When I go to MBA fairs globally, so just today I was telling Manish that I just came in from Philippines. Before that I was in Indonesia, and last couple of months, Russia, Japan, everywhere. The India story is picking up, and at the same time, Indian School of Business is becoming more and more prominent. Why I say that? Because right here in India, we have such a startup story which is creating that global impact and providing world-class education as well as competing with the best in the world. I talk to other top USB schools. They see ISB as a competition from Asia and from India. Likewise, other Asian B schools. So if we want, surely many of you know that we can compete globally, but we have have to imbibe those best practices and keep on innovating. I think I just can go on and on, but I'll stop here. Just wanted to share with you some parting thoughts. One is, the future belongs to those who believe in the power of the dreams. ISB has done it over the last 18 years, and we are going from strength to strength, and so can you. Recently, I was at Chicago at Kellogg School of Management, and we at ISB along with Kellogg were hosting an event where our chief economic advisor talked about India potentially becoming a $5 trillion economy. And therein, at ISB, we believe the MSc, ME sector has a very crucial role to play. We have multiple programs at ISB, like whether it be the flagship MBA, but we have executive education programs. We have programs for called PGP Max, which is for the senior corporate executives, and PGP MFAB, which is completely focused on family business owners. We believe that it's a lifelong learning aspect that we are constantly focusing on. We would be more than happy to share more details with you. Me and my team members are around there, but I think we all need to, as an Indian ecosystem, evolve, and we have the potential to compete with the best in the world. Finally, the last question, the CP marks for the last question would be the Chief Economic Advisor of India. Which school did he teach at before becoming the CEA? ISB. Yes, that's the right answer. So where we started from there, we are constantly working on that, and I'm sure that, I keep on telling my team, and that's what I'll share with you, that ultimately it begins with a dream, and arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that very lively presentation, Mr. Bose. Well, it is now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker to you. We have with us Mr. Vincent Valladers, Head Commercial Banking, RBL Bank Limited. Vincent Valladers is Head Commercial Banking at RBL Bank and brings over 22 years of experience in the financial services across sales, relationship management, and credit. His focus areas include client management and cross-selling across transaction banking, lending and fixed income, currencies and commodities, FICC. In his current role, Vincent overlooks the commercial banking coverage franchisee, which includes the SME and mid-corporate segments. Vincent holds a B.Tech in Petrochemical Engineering and a Master's in Management Studies from JBIMS, Mumbai. Ladies and gentlemen, let's invite Mr. Vincent Valladres, Head Commercial Banking, RBL Bank, to make his keynote address.
Thank you, Divya. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed a pleasure to be here. Always great to see a full house, and I think more importantly, always good to see some new faces, right? I would just like to begin my speech with quoting one of the presidents of the US, which is John Adams, which I think is very relevant to people like you. He basically said that if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are truly a leader. And, I would like to use this to salute all of you who are here, because you have overcome lots of obstacles and, starting from a small company to where you are today. And I would encourage, and you are truly an example to, all of us here. So congratulations to, all the winners. I would also like to congratulate D&B for, this milestone 10th year of the D&B SME Business Excellence Awards. I think it is indeed a great platform in terms of showcasing, SME entrepreneurs around the, in India to the world. It is also the 4th year of association of RBL Bank with this platform, and it is also reinforcing our commitment to the sector. I think, in the last 1 year, there has been lots of talk of a slowdown. But I think what's also important to see is the fact that in the last 5 years, the economy has undergone a transformational change, right? I think starting from, things like demonetization, GST, RERA, IBC, there have been a numerous number of steps taken by the government in terms of improving transparency, improving the formalization of the economy, and also leading to consolidation. So I think the companies who are coming out of this are basically companies who are going to emerge stronger, who are going to emerge, more capable, and who are going to be based on sound, financials and risk management practices. I would like to talk about 2 or 3 positive things in the, sector today, 2 or 3 points. I think one is, as you may be aware, India's rank in terms of the ease of doing business has jumped by a record 79 places to 63rd in 2019. It was 149 or something like that in 2014. So it is indeed a record, and I think it is due to steps taken by the government in terms of ease of setting up businesses, in terms of ease of registrations, etc., which has created this, impact. The other area where there has been a significant change is the digital ecosystem in the country. I think that is something which has obviously seen a fillip post demonetization. But just a couple of data points that I would like to give you. Last month, India did about 820 million transactions on the UPI platform. 820 million transactions in a month. And IMPS was about 190 million. So if you add up the two, there's basically 1 billion transactions a month being done on the digital platforms. And today we are a leader or setting the example for even countries like the US. The US, I can tell you, doesn't have an online real-time settlement platform, right? Like we do in India, right? You have an IMPS platform, and now the RBI has also extended it. The NEFT and RTGS will be 24/7. So I think we are one of the few countries in the world to have truly imbibed, digital across, various things, right? Whether it's bank, UPI, AEPS, etc., etc. And I think this has also led to the flourishing of a very, very vibrant startup ecosystem, right? I mean, I think today India is the country where there's a third largest number of what is called unicorns, right? Unicorns basically being companies privately listed, privately held companies with a market cap of more than $1 billion. And that is number 3 after China and the US. And I think, this entire Aadhaar ecosystem and a lot of other enabling factors have created that. So I think, this is some of the positive things to look at as far as, the Indian economy is concerned. And within that, I think SMEs obviously play a very critical role. Like somebody has said, right, SMEs contributing 29% of the GDP, 45% of the, organized labor workforce. And I think the beauty of simplicity is the numbers, right? I mean, I think when the Honorable Prime Minister put out a number of 5 trillion, today everybody is talking of this $5 trillion economy, right? And I think the beauty is the simplicity, right? It's just that 5 trillion is something which resonates with everybody. And towards that, as Manish was mentioning, obviously the SME sector has a very critical role to play. I mean, increasing the contribution from 30% to 50% is obviously going to be very important, because I think employment is one of the key, challenges and priorities from an Indian perspective, right? And towards this, I think the SMEs and the MSMEs are the ones which are going to generate maximum employment. This entire shift from 30% to 50% of the GDP basically calls for something like 5 crore jobs to be generated in the next 5 years, 6 years, right? So it is up to all of us to kind of focus on this kind of initiative and kind of make it happen. Now coming to, I'd just like to spend a little time on RBL Bank. I'd like to say that our journey is also similar to a lot of the, a lot of you present here. Although we are a 76-year-old bank, but in a way our transformation started about 10 years back. We were also what would be called an SME bank at that point in time. Very regional, based in Western Maharashtra, North Karnataka. But in the last 10 years, we've seen a significant transformation, which has been driven by, getting a truly independent board, getting, marquee shareholders. Today, our top shareholders are institutions like Commonwealth Development Corporation, International Financial Corporation, Asian Development Bank, etc. And also imbibing sound risk management practices, governance practices, and also having a very professional team. I think we have also believed in the fact that we need to leverage technology in order to make things happen. Today, I cannot be as successful as an HDFC bank that has 5,000 branches. I have 350 branches. So if I have to, grow to the same level, grow at the same rate as an HDFC bank, I obviously need to do something differently, right? Which is obviously trying to leverage technology in a much better, in a smarter way than, and I'm sure this is again something that's applicable to everybody here, right? When Manish was mentioning something about digitally enabled, SMEs, right? And I can tell you that the platform, which the digital platform allows you, is really significant. So I think, using technology, we've been able to kind of, and partnerships, right? I think the other important point that I would like to say is we've also used partnerships very successfully. And that has also been, a key to our success. So I think from our perspective, our focus on the SME sector is fairly intense. We work very closely also, not too many of you may be aware, but we work very closely with the startups. We have a India Startup Club which was started. We also work with digital and e-commerce companies. So today SMEs are across, both the digital and the, as well as the conventional space. And today the startup companies are also getting a lot of funding, right? So I think we work with startups. We are also working very actively to promote the government payment methods like AEPS, Aadhaar, etc. Finally, I'd like to say that our bank has also won, in the last 4 years, 5 years, we won, numerous awards. Some of these awards have been, the Asia Money Award, the Best Bank for Microfinance in 2019. Not too many people may know, but we have our own independent subsidiary which is completely into microfinance, supporting MSMEs in rural and semi-urban India. It is among the fastest growing companies. And this award is actually, in testimony of the work which has been done in that sector, right? We also won the CNBC TV18 India Business Leaders Award for the most promising company of the year in 2018. We won the Business Today Best Small Bank Award for 7 consecutive years, 2012 to 2019. We won the Business World Best Bank Survey for the fastest growing small bank for 5 years, 2013 to 2018. Finally, I would like to say that, SMEs are going to be the future of the growth of, India. And unless you keep disrupting and innovating, it's not going to be possible to grow. We've seen business models change in this country and globally. And unless you're on top of that and, managing that technology and disruption, that's where the growth is going to come from. So that's it from my side. Congratulations to the winners. Thank you to our chief guests and the dignitaries on the panel. And I wish all of you lots of luck in your growth journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. And now, RBL Bank is going to introduce us to their newest product. Let me introduce to you Mr. Anshul Chandak, Head FX and Derivative Sales, RBL Bank Limited, who's going to come up on stage shortly and tell us more about it. Anshul Chandak is Head of FX and Derivative Sales at RBL Bank and brings with him over 14 years of experience across various financial market products. He's been with the bank since the last 8 years and has been instrumental in building the financial market business from scratch. The bank has added various products like derivatives and bullion biz under his leadership. In his current role, he oversees financial market sales, including FX, derivative and bullion sales. Sir, over to you.
Thank you all. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At RBL Bank, adding value to customers and their business is of paramount importance to us. And today I am happy to share with our customers that we are listening. We understand that clients today want to have control and features at a click of a button. In today's highly volatile markets, forex rates can change substantially over a span of few seconds. And hence, we wanted to ensure that markets become more accessible to our clients and they are able to capture their desired rates without a gap of a second. In the light of same, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to announce launch of our online FX platform, RFX. This platform is our response to our customer needs. RFX is in line with Government of India's push towards digital initiatives. I'm happy to share with you some of the key features of this platform. Clients can monitor real-time rates and book cash term and spot transactions. They can check the transaction history of all the deals that they have booked. We have options to trade in 10 currencies, including USD INR and all G7 currencies. You can pick and choose the currencies that you would like to trade in, and so the screen is customizable. And most importantly, the entire platform is transparent and is fairly secured to keep the user confidentiality. RFX is our attempt to give power in your hand. We are indeed pleased to have launch it in this important event today. SMEs have been a backbone of Indian economy for so many years, and this is our way to collaborate with this sector to give more power to them. We are focused to partner and bring the costs down and higher efficiencies for the SMEs, and I would now like to unveil the
Well, to do the honors, we have one more person joining us on stage. Can I please introduce him to you? Mr. Andrew Gracious, Head Financial Markets at RBL Bank, is going to join us shortly. Andrew Gracious, Head Financial Markets at RBL Bank, brings over 25 years of experience in the financial markets business in areas of foreign exchange, fixed income and derivatives. In his current role, he oversees the bank's fixed income and foreign exchange trading and sales business. Well, that's a glorious moment indeed. Thank you, dear dignitaries, for doing the honors. I'm sure this is a moment in history for RBL Bank. Thank you, sirs. May I please request you to take your seats? Before we move ahead, let's take a look at the RFX platform.
Forex rates are so unpredictable. It fluctuates just like the weather. Every time you want to hedge Forex, you reach out to your relationship manager. But due to various reasons, you may not be able to get through right then. But don't worry, we have good news for you. No, it's not about the weather. It's about Forex. Introducing RFX. With RFX, you can monitor Forex rates real time and book cash, term, and spot transactions instantly at your convenience. Forex rates are available in over 10 currency pairs, including US dollars, Indian rupees, and all G7 currency pairs. You can also see details of all your Forex transactions on one screen. What's more, you have the flexibility to customize the screens as per your requirement, like choosing the currencies you want to trade in. RFX comes with superior security levels, thus maintaining confidentiality. You get all this at no extra cost. Explore RFX from RBL Bank for seamless Forex dealings. Contact your RBL Bank relationship manager or email us on fxsales@rblbank.com today to know more. RBL Bank, apno ka bank.
Well, I'm sure this product is going to prove really promising to most of us in this room. Can we hear it for the new launch, please? And now, we have a highly respectable dignitary here tonight. One who can offer us unique insights into the SME sector. We have with us today the chief guest for this evening's exceptional event, Shri Pratap Chandra Sarangi, Honorable Minister of State for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises and Animal Husbandry, Dairying and Fisheries, Government of India. Shri Pratap Chandra Sarangi took charge of his ministries in May 2009. He is a politician from Balasore, Odisha and was elected as the member of Odisha Legislative Assembly 2 times, from 2004 to 2009 and from 2009 to 2014 from Nilagiri constituency. He revolutionized the primary education in rural areas through the innovative concept of community-funded Ekal Vidyalaya or single teacher schools. Sri Sarangi completed his bachelor's degree at Fakir Mohan College, Balasore under Utkal University in 1975. He also opened schools for the poor called Samar Kara Kendra under the Ganashiksha Mandir Yojana in tribal villages in Balasore and Mayurbanj district. Sir, we look forward to listening to your words of wisdom on this platform. Welcome, sir.
Sri Manish Sinha ji, Divyendra Ghosh, Mr. Vincent Voloders, Anshul Chandak, and all the entrepreneurs, business house representatives who are present here, sisters and brothers, and representatives of various media houses, I congratulate you all. And at the same time, I may be pardoned for arriving late owing to my busy schedule in the parliament. The parliament was not over when I came here. Exactly because I became a minister by accident, I am dragged to this platform. Otherwise, I am a mismatch. There is a saying in English, fools rush in where angels fear to tread. You are all pioneers in this field, and I am quite optimistic that the resolution taken by our great Prime Minister Narendra Modi to lead our economy to a $5 trillion economy will be a reality within a short period under your leadership. When so able champions like you, young entrepreneurs, are here, and I have been listening to the previous speakers, so eloquently they are speaking their experiences, so I am quite hopeful. Mother India has been teaching the world everything: science, art, culture, industry, business, farming, medical science, everything else. Just imagine if zero would not have been discovered in India, how incomplete would have been mathematics. Everything has been. Technology was not created the other day. It is as old as the creation itself. If you now go to the Golconda Fort, you will find if you put a clock, it will be responded by somebody else who is standing at a height of 480 feet and at a distance of 1.5 kilometers. How this sound has been regulated in that broken fort. That is almost broken. There are many other ways in the forts and fortresses built by Chhatrapati Shivaji in the Sahyadri range of mountains. You can see that excellent system of regulation of sound. So technology has been advanced now, but technology is as old as the creation itself. A person sewing a cloth and putting a cover in his finger is also a technology. So now we apply technology to create wealth from waste materials. Science and technology are both sides of a coin. When we apply it to industry, it gives us many new things. It is said that cultured hand is industry. If you crush a piece of stone, it will give you 500 rupees worth chips. If you carve an image on the stone, it will be worth 55,000 rupees. That is value addition and that is industry. The selling price of a mango is a raw mango is 5 rupees a kg, but you prepare pickle out of it, it will be 250 rupees per kg. The tomato is being sold in our area during harvesting period 2 rupees a kg. The farmer gets nothing. But the tomato sauce is produced at 300 or 400 rupees. Potato is 500 rupees during harvesting period, and the potato chips is 500 rupees. But our farmers are not well equipped. They do not know the technique, they do not have the money, they do not have the marketing expertise, they cannot link them with the banks. So that is the whole problem. Now, big industry is not a solution to our economic problem. Taking our specific socio-economic fate, and we need small and micro industries, medium industries. Mahatma Gandhi used to say, not mass production, but production by masses is the solution to our economic problems. You can have huge production, but people do not have the power to purchase. It makes no growth. If you see a filaria patient, and you will say, oh brother, you are so healthy, your leg is so fat. No, that is a disease. You cannot say like that. Similarly, growth on a particular dimension is not a complete growth. A harmonious and balanced growth of a considerable size of population, of the Indian population, is what we want. There cannot be uniformity, but there should be equal opportunity for all. Natural justice is not to be denied. When we start with this background, we see there are many merits and drawbacks. Drawbacks are related to banks and related to the bureaucracy. Today, 2 persons came to us and cried. We sent letters. I talked to Chief Minister Haryana to relieve his grievances, and I gave him the phone, and then they had an interaction. And the Chief Minister asked, please send all these papers. 14 crores and 77 lakhs dues on the electricity board of Haryana, and that person has been fined by the bank and he has been ruined almost. He's crying. A few months back, one young man from Telangana came and he expressed his desire with a pathetic voice that he is bound to commit suicide. Another person from Odisha came and cried that I have no other way. What the entrepreneur will do? Bank has been torturing me. 11 lakh rupees has been calculated as 42 lakhs within 5 months. I went through the entire papers, such a big book. And why this is being happening? Because those people who are doing this are intelligent people, are not dull, are not poor, are capable. But why they are doing this? Because in spite of all the development in all these 2-3 dimensions, one dimension is very much lacking. They are not man. They are beasts in human form. Simply taking a human form is not enough. You should culture manliness. And one manager is under suspension doing this nasty game. They asked the money, give us 2 lakhs, otherwise you will be finished. So, we cannot change a dishonest man into an honest one by mere science. बेईमान को ईमानदार बनाना, देशद्रोही को देशभक्त बनाना, भ्रष्टाचारी को सदाचारी बनाना, यह विज्ञान की बात नहीं है. And in every business, we need ethics. Ethics first, ethics last. The business not only to flourish, but to have a very sustainable growth, we need ethics. And you are the person who are the engineers to take this growth engine to its utmost height. We have developed so many technologies and so many devices. MSME sector, our ministry has also simplified the process of registration through Udyog Aadhar Memorandum. A single paper within a few minutes can register your application under MSME. We have also started a portal where you can get your loan in principally approved within 59 seconds. A few banks also has developed a technology so that a loan can be sanctioned within 30 seconds. I have seen it. But in spite of all that, the real problem is very much disheartening. And we have to address this with courage and vigor. Given the right type of man, no problem will remain a problem. You have to face it with all boldness. I remember some of the entrepreneurs in our Baleswar district convened a meeting where our departmental officers, our secretary has gone, and myself was also present. They expressed their grievances and almost some of them cried. I told a story. Swami Vivekananda was moving in a forest. He was chased by a group of monkeys, about 30-40 monkeys. He started running. Then one old sadhu from the deep forest asked at the top of his voice, "Please halt and face the monkeys. Roko, Swamiji, Janwar ko samna karo." Swamiji immediately turned out and chased after the monkeys. All the monkeys ran away. Swamiji, during his lectures in Europe and America, told that is the greatest lesson that I have learned in my life, to face the brute. Brute force is to be faced with all courage. You have to do that. And the sole motive is not to make money. Money will come by itself. But the motive should not be just to make money. Motive power is more important. Because if you kill me today, you may be booked under Section 302. And the judgment may go to the extent of hanging to death. Capital punishment may be there also. But if you kill 10,000 soldiers, Pakistani soldiers in the battlefield, you will not be treated as a murderer, rather you will be respected as a hero. You may be awarded Paramavira Chakra also. Here, although the action appears to be same, but the motive power is different. If I will steal a gold ornament from your house, I will be immediately arrested by the police. I will be beaten by the public. But if the Tahsildar or the revenue inspector comes and enter property of yours, you will not be treated as a thief. You will be honored by the government as a very efficient officer. So the motive power determines the significance, the importance of the entire work. What is the intention of your starting industry? Normally we start industries, we start any entrepreneurship to make money. But if the intention, the motive power becomes a deeper, that will reflect a deeper dimension of your personality, and the end result will be different. Just one example would suffice. 3 laborers were working in a bridge. One passersby halted and asked, "Why are you working in such scorching heat? Don't go, you rest, take rest." Told that, "No, I can't do that because my family will starve. I am bound to do it." And he was not doing it with love. He was compelled to do it. The second one was asked the same question. He told, "How can I take rest? I have to obey the command of my master because I am a slave. I don't have any independence." The third laborer was asked the same question by the same passerby. And he became proud. While replying, his face turned red. He told that, "Do you know, this is a divine chance given by God to me. Because my village has been detached from the outer world by this river. For centuries, we have not been able to cross the river during rainy season. Our students cannot go to school. We cannot go to the marketplace. And I have been fortunate enough, I am proud enough that God has given me to do this simple work. I am part of this work to create this bridge." The material benefit for these 3 people will be the same. The same remuneration, wages they will get. But the psychological benefit, the spiritual result for this third laborer will be different. If you cultivate 100 acres of land and cultivate paddy and all other fruits, and you think that I will create money by lakhs this time, and I will put in this and that bank, I will have a big house. You can do that. But if that will be the motive power for you, you can get money, but you cannot have a deeper result. You think that I will be instrumental in increasing the national GDP. I'll be instrumental in taking my country to $5 trillion economy within a few years. I'll be instrumental in creating employment for many. So this will become a yajna for you. This will have a different result, a better satisfaction. What is the need of this satisfaction? You see, many IAS officers committed suicide. In Odisha also, Gagan Swai, he was additional secretary in education, higher education department, and he committed suicide. Nobody knows the reason. One IAS officer is praying Paricha Murtyu to the government inside the jail. One IAS stepper looted the nation by 475 crores and went to jail comfortably. If you parliamentarians asking questions for different companies took money and were detected and removed from the parliament. One doctor made a surgical treatment and a towel was found inside the lady's stomach and she died and the case has been registered. Many cricketers were found engaged in match fixing. What does that mean? विज्ञान में ईमान को ईमानदार नहीं बना सकता है. You have to develop this quality within yourself. And Swami Vivekananda was asked, Swamiji in 1897 when he came back from America, somebody told Swamiji, you have so much of spiritual power. Why don't you get Mother India free? Swamiji immediately replied, I can get freedom for Mother India tomorrow only. But where are the men who can keep up this freedom? Man, these are wanted. Rest will take care of itself. But strong, vigorous, believing young man and sincere to the backbone, 100 such and the world becomes revolutionized. Today he must be dancing with joy in heaven, seeing such young entrepreneurs who are committed to develop our country and create more employment for our countrymen. Swamiji and Jamsetji Tata were moving in a ship. He was going to America for lecturing in the Chicago Parliament Religions, and Jamsetji Tata was going in connection with a business. Swamiji asked both fellow passengers, asking each other, what are you doing, where are you going, what is the intention? Then Jamsetji Tata told that I am going to Europe and America in connection with my business. What is your business? I am purchasing goods and selling it in India. Swami told that 5 years your education. Your nation is not going to improve an inch, to move an inch. Why? Because you send raw materials, iron ore to Europe, and you purchase nut bolts and sell it to your people. You are sending cotton to London, and you purchase furnished cloths from Manchester. You are having ocean 3 sides of your country, but you are privated, and you cannot prepare salt. You are purchasing salt from Liverpool. What does that mean? You are even not a baby in the field of industry. What is to be done, Swamiji? Swami told, dig mines, process your raw material. Everything you can do. You should have the energy of a demon and the character of a god. We want that this combination will engage itself for the improvement of our country. You create more employment. You remove starvation from this land of Bharat, and you have your research wing, innovation. You discover, you invent many things. Don't depend upon these Westerners. You learn from them and apply it in your own field. Then the whole attention of Jamsetji was diverted and he became a producer. So be a producer. Instead of becoming a merchant, be a producer. You see, we are producing our money jewels from under the earth. It is being processed and sent to foreign lands and we earn more money. Our import and export gap is increasing day by day. We have to reduce it. And you are the people who are instrumental in reducing this. Our MSME sector has developed, started many training centers called tool rooms and incubation centers. We had 18 training centers earlier. Now with the help of our World Bank, we have started 15 and another 20 training centers. Each sector will cost 200 crores rupees, and incubation center, extension centers will cost 100 incubation center and 20 training centers, tool rooms are going to be started this year only. Money has been sanctioned. But in spite of all these sanctions, unless we tick off the values, this will not result much. We shall have to profess, we shall have to perform the values, our age-old values. In our Shastras it is said that there are 3 types of man: Adhama, Madhyama and Uttama. Prarabhyate nakhalu vigna bhayena nichahi prarabdha vigna vihita viramanti madhya vignahi punah punarapi pratyanyamana prarabdha muttama jana naparityajanti. There are many people who will not start anything with the fear that they may lose. They will not start cultivation because there may be drought, there may be flood. They may not start any entrepreneurship with the apprehension that there may be loss in the business. These people are useless. They are bound to be finished. The second category is they will start an entrepreneurship, and if a very simple problem comes, then they will close it. Suppose somebody started cultivating coconut. In the very same year, one of his relative died. Now this superstition comes to his mind and somebody will tell that this is not favorable to you. If you plant coconut, your family will be finished. Then they will stop it. No, this cannot be. 5 acres of landed property is gone and the entire plantation has been finished. This is superstition. Superstition is more dangerous than anything else. The worst enemy of humanity is superstition. And the third one, prarabdhat vignai punah punarapi pratihanyamana prarabdha muttama jana naparityajanti. If they fail 1,000 times, they will start another new attempt. They will inquire why I am not successful, and they will find out the remedy and they will be successful. So you people are not to be flowed in the wave of history. You are to create history. You are born to create history in the field of entrepreneurship, and with a bigger and deeper dimension, deeper intention to raise our economy to the $5 trillion economy and to raise the standard of our common man, standard of living of our common man. That is the whole intention. With this I conclude. Bolo Bharat Mata Ki Vande.
Thank you so much, sir, for those pearls of wisdom. Your depth and commitment is truly inspiring. Well, before we showcase the publication for the day, I would like to invite Mr. Prakash Chandra, Non-Executive Part-Time Chairman, RBL Bank, and Mr. Saras Mundra, Head Commercial Banking West and East, RBL Bank, to join the dignitaries on the stage, please. Tonight is a celebration of the achievements. Welcome, sirs. As I was saying, tonight is a celebration of the achievements in SME sector, and Dun & Bradstreet and RBL Bank are proud to identify the best performing companies in their respective sectors. This publication primarily features the 34 winners of SME Business Excellence Awards 2019 with their profiles, their history and their performance highlights. Additionally, the publication also lists the best performing SMEs. It also provides a comprehensive industry overview of the top Indian SME companies. The publication will be available in both print and electronic formats. This is the ultimate guide and reference book for the Indian SME sector, and you'll want to make sure you get yourself a copy as soon as it's available. Ladies and gentlemen, This is the moment I would like Mr. Sinha to present the 10th edition of Dun & Bradstreet's premier publication, Leading SMEs of India 2019, to our chief guest, Shri Pratap Chandra Sarangi, who will showcase it to the public present. Well, there it is, the 2019 edition. Be sure to get your own copy. What a beautiful moment for us. Thank you so much, sirs, for doing the honors. While we prepare the stage for the awards function coming up next, we request all our dignitaries to please step down and take their respective seats. Thank you, sirs. We're all set. Our next segment is the awards ceremony. I request Shri Pratap Chandra Sarangi, Mr. Prakash Chandra, Mr. Vincent Valaders and Mr. Manish Sinha to please come up on the stage for the awards ceremony. We request you to please be on the stage throughout the ceremony, sirs. But before moving to the awards ceremony, a word about our esteemed jury panel. These awards would not have been possible without the support and meticulous scrutiny by our esteemed jury panel. It is only rightful for us to acknowledge their contribution by felicitating them at this grand event. I call upon our esteemed jury members to come on the stage one by one. We have Shri V.G. Kannan, Chief Executive, Indian Banks Association. Sir, can we please have you on stage? Calling on next, Shri Umashankar Paliwal, former Executive Director, Reserve Bank of India. The third panelist, Shri Sanjay Agarwal, Chief Financial Officer, Jyoti Laboratories Limited. Can we hear it for the jury, please? Dear sirs, we request you to please be on stage for a group photo. Can we have all the three panelists on stage? members have been an invaluable contribution to today's event. It's a pleasure and an honor to share the dais with them today. Thank you so much, sirs. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and finally, the time has arrived. Awards are given according to the size of the company in order to make a more level playing field with separate awards in manufacturing and services sectors. Organizations with annual turnover of rupees 5 crores to 250 crores are classified as SME companies, and those with annual turnover between rupees 250 crores and rupees 1000 crores are classified as mid-corporates. There are also a few special awards to be presented tonight. A word on how the winners were selected. After getting a tremendous response from the SME community, Dun & Bradstreet shortlisted companies in each award category using a proprietary D&B model. These results were then given to the jury. The jury met in person for a discussion and chose the winners unanimously, of course. Of course, it's not as simple as it sounds, but now it's time to meet the stars of the SME world. Right, let's go to the first category, and it's straight into the fast lane with auto components. SME companies provide vital support to the big car makers. The promoters of today's winner have over 5 decades of experience in fasteners. Today they manufacture a wide range of cold and hot forged fasteners and precision machine components for automotive and industrial applications. And the SME winner in this category is Mahindra Fasteners Limited. Ms. Nidhi Patak, Company Secretary, is coming up to pick the first award of this evening. It's a proud moment indeed. And as I said, there will be mid-corporate winners in each category. Outstanding performance by a mid-sized company in the same field. The company specializes in automotive steering system parts and assembles. It started with initial production of 60,000 yokes and today manufactures 25 million yokes. And the mid-corporate award for auto components goes to Roop Automotives Limited. Let's hear it for them, everybody. Oswal, Managing Director from Group Automotive, coming up to take home the prize tonight. What a moment there. Mr. Oswal, kindly request you to remain on stage to collect your second award for the evening. Roop Automotives Limited is also the winner under Best Employment Initiative. Big round of applause for them, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we come to the chemicals category. There were many contenders for this prize. The company manufactures silicon supplies and chemical supplies and has posted an export growth of over 270%. And the SME award goes to LK Chemicals Private Limited. And coming up to claim the trophy, we have the Managing Director, Mr. Ravindra Kulkarni, and with him is Director HR, Mrs. Alka Kulkarni. It's a pleasure to have you here, sir and ma'am. Request you to remain on stage to collect your second award for the evening. LK Chemicals Private Limited is also the winner under Most Innovative Company. A big round of applause for them. The and let's see who's the best performing mid-corporate in the chemicals category. And here the winner is Yasho Industries Limited, Mr. Parag Javeri. The Managing Director is here coming up on stage to receive the award. Can we hear it for the winners, please? Now that brings us to the pharmaceuticals SME category. The company is engaged in research and manufacture, and it is a rightly deserving company. It is Indian Herbs Specialities Private Limited. Mr. Vipulanand is here to pick up the award tonight. A moment etched in history for him. Moving to the pharmaceuticals mid-corporate category, the winner is Merrill Life Sciences Private Limited. Mr. Sanjeev Agarwal, non-business head, Merrill Life Sciences Private Limited is here to pick up his award. Thank you, Mr. Prakash Chandra. We request you to please step down and take your seat, sir. Thank you for doing the honors. Can we give him a big hand, please? Thank you. I will now request Mr. Dibyendu Bose, Director of Admissions and Financial Aid at ISB, to join our dignitaries to give away the next set of awards. Welcome, sir. We now come to the SME category of engineering and machinery. The company specializes in this industry, and the proud winner here is Linomatic Graphic Industries. Mr. Swapnil Patel, Linomatic Graphic Industries, is here to receive the award. It's a beautiful trophy to take home tonight. Thank you. The next award is for the top mid-corporate in the same category. And the winner is CMI FPE Limited. Mr. Raman Madhok, the Managing Director, is coming up to receive the award. A huge round of applause for him, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And that brings us to the SME category of electrical and electronic goods. And the winner is Matrix Comsec Private Limited. And Mr. Dhirendra Stavla, Director, is coming up. Let's hear it for him, please. Well deserved, sir. Thank you. We have a mid-corporate award in this category as well. The company is engaged in solar solutions, and the winner here is Livguard Batteries Private Limited, and Mr. Atul Jalota, Chief Financial Officer, and Mr. Ajay Goswami, General Manager Corporate Finance, are coming up for the prize. What a moment there, captured in time. Thank you, Mr. Bose, for doing the honors. We request you to please step down and kindly take your seats to witness the proceedings. I will now request Mr. Suman Mukhopadhyay, Vice President, Business Development, SMERA Gradings and Ratings Limited, to join our dignitaries to give away the next set of awards, please. Can we give him a big hand? The next category we have is textiles and garments. And the award has been won by Jaipur Rugs Company Private Limited. Mr. Nandkishore Chaudhary, Managing Director, is here to collect the award. Moving on, the mid-corporate winner in the category of textiles and garments is Phase 3 Limited. Mr. Ajay Anand, Managing Director of the company, is here to pick up his award. He is accompanied by Mr. Sanjay Anand, Full-Time Director. A round of applause for these gentlemen, please. A sense of achievement is present on the dais right now. Thank you, sirs. Thank you, Mr. Mukhopadhyay. We request you to please step down and take your seat. The next category is food processing and agro products. The SME award goes to Mega Moda Private Limited. Mr. Yogesh Gupta, Director of Mega Moda, is coming up quickly on stage to pick up his award. The Mid-Corporate Award in the Food Processing and Agro Products category goes to Mukka Seafoods Industries Private Limited. Mr. K. Mohammed Harris, Managing Director of the company, is very much here to receive his award. Moving on, the next category, plastic and plastic products SMEs. And the winner is Harmony Plastics Private Limited. This company is represented by its director, Mr. Sandeep Bhakna. I'm sure our winners are feeling truly acknowledged today. Moving on to the mid-corporate segment of plastic and plastic products, the winner is Kanpur Plastipack Limited. Mr. Sunil Mehta, Executive Director, and the company is here to receive his award and to collect the beautiful trophy. We move on to a service category, specifically IT and IT-enabled services, SME. And here the SME award goes to Q-Burst Technologies Private Limited. Mr. Sajeev Devarajan, Director Engineering at the company, is here to receive the award. He is accompanied by Mr. Parvati Prasad, Head of Business Development. There is, of course, a mid-corporate award for IT and IT-enabled service, and this one goes to Nucleus Software Exports Limited. Can we hear it for them, ladies and gentlemen? Well, due to some unfortunate circumstances, we didn't have a representative who could make it here today, but let's give it up for them. They truly deserve this. This category is Professional and Business Services. The SME award in this category has been won by none other than Consulting Engineers Group Limited, Mr. Vishwas Jain, Managing Director, representing the company today, along with Mr. Rahul Mehta. Here they come. The Mid-Corporate Award in this category has been backed by breaking the suspense, has been backed by ThyssenKrupp Industrial Solutions India Private Limited. Mr. K.S. Rao, Director, is here to collect the award. Of pride down the aisle. The next category we look at is transportation and logistics. And this one in the SME segment goes to Sequel Logistics Private Limited. Mr. Zankar Jobanputra, Director of the company, is here today to collect the beautiful trophy. I can see this room is full of smiles right now. The next we look at is mid-corporate segment in transportation and logistics. And the award goes to Sarja Container Lines Private Limited. Captain Rumi Engineer, Senior President of the company, is here to collect the award tonight. He is accompanied by Mr. Benson Raipa, Head Sales and Marketing, and Mr. Sachin Shinde. Dear sir, kindly request you to remain on stage to collect your second award for this evening. Sarjak Container Lines Private Limited is also the winner under the category Most Socially Responsible Company. Congratulations. Thank you, sir. The next category we have is Digital and FinTech Solutions. And it has been won by Sterling Software Private Limited. And coming up to collect the award is Mr. Suresh Kuppuswamy, Chief Executive Officer of the company. Let's hear some applause, ladies and gentlemen. Eagerly moving on to the next category, Education and Health Services SME. And the winner is Zero Clin Farm Private Limited. Mr. Karan Daftari and Mr. Akshay Daftari, directors at the company, are here to take home the trophy. Well-earned awards these are. Coming up next is Renewable Energy SME, and the award goes to Knowledge Integration Services India Private Limited. Dr. Jyoti, director at the company, is here to receive the award. In the winner's eyes. Now, let's move on to the next set of awards, which are theme-based. The first of these special awards coming up now is backed by Value Momentum Software Services Private Limited. Miss Uma Gogineni, Chief People Officer, is here to collect the award. Welcome, ma'am. Well, hearts seem to be beating harder as we near the end of the award ceremony. Just a few more awards to give away. Ladies and gentlemen, this award is very special, and we have the lady herself here collecting it. It is for Best Woman Entrepreneur, and the award goes to Miss Veena Kohli, CEO of Vanguard Diagnostics Private Limited. It's inspiring to see such personalities fill up this room today. Can we hear it for Miss Veena, please? The next award is a very important one. It is for Best Green Initiatives. The winner is Wilhelm Textiles India Private Limited. Mr. Jose Lasso, Chief Technical Officer, and Mr. Dilip Bhogle, Chief Operating Officer, are coming up on stage to receive their award. Now, the next special award is for Make in India initiative. The proud winner is Syntacom India Limited. Can we hear it for them, please? Mr. Jignesh Raval, Managing Director of the company, is coming up for the award. Getting a hold on the trophy. And the last special award of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very special. Tech Company of the Year. And the award goes to Neo Growth Credit Private Limited. Mr. Arun Nair, Chief Executive Officer of the company, accompanied by Mr. Manmeet Singh. show tonight. There's a special recognition award coming up. And let's wait and find out who the winner is. The company first won an award from Dun & Bradstreet in 2011. Since then, the company has grown from being a micro-enterprise to a small enterprise over a period of 9 years and has exhibited consistent growth. The special recognition goes to ArcGate. I request that the company video be played on screen.
On behalf of the 2,000 plus employees of ArcGate, I would like to thank Dun & Bradstreet for this remarkable honor and recognition. Receiving this award from one of the most trusted brands in the world with a deep legacy and history is truly remarkable for all of us. Thank you. Over the last 10 years, we have grown from a small startup in a tier 3 city, Udaipur, Rajasthan, to a dominant force in the BPO and IT industry today. Leading innovative companies worldwide rely on our people and services every day to help make them successful. We are working with some of the most disruptive companies, helping them with training AI and machine learning algorithms, fight fraud, improve search results, and build quality engineering products. Dun & Bradstreet recognized our potential at a very early stage, when we were very small and insignificant. And that, as a small SME, is a big confidence booster. So thank you for this lovely initiative, because this goes to show that the next big story in our country can come from any corner, any city. And we as SMEs have the capability to go out on the global stage and shine. Thank you.
Wow, that's an amazing message. Unfortunately, Mr. Kunal Bagla, Chief Executive Officer, ArcGate, could not make it today. Nevertheless, ArcGate sure deserves a big round of applause from all of us here. Well, we have the Special Recognition Award going to Ecos Mobility and Hospitality Private Limited. I request you to play the company's video, please.
Hello everybody. First of all, a very warm welcome to you all. I'm honored to speak in front of this august audience. One of the reasons why ECO has been able to grow consistently over the past many years now is been our constant focus on innovation and being able to invest in people resources, technology, as well as product, keeping in mind the changing times and the customer expectations. Having said that, one of the key focus areas for us has always been on customer service. Being in the passenger transportation industry, the key expectations from a company always remain reliability, safety, as well as comfort and value. So rather than focusing on a price game, we are focusing on how to give customers a maximum value, and that is how we are able to retain them for a long time. So I just wanted to say that Dun & Bradstreet has been a great support for ECO over the last many years. We've been honored to get an award from them in 2014 and 2017, and we are very thankful to them. This has given ECO a great amount of credibility in the market and has boosted our company profile. So from behalf of the management of ECO, our managing director, Mr. Rajesh Lumba, who has been the visionary and anchor for ECO over the last 35 years, and the entire team of ECO family, I first of all congratulate the other winners of Dun & Bradstreet who are also award winners. and look forward to our own association with D&B for a long time ahead. Thank you.
Well, that's great. I call upon Mr. Rajesh Lumba, Managing Director, to come and receive the recognition. The special recognition goes to Newgen Software Technologies Limited. Well, we now call on Newgen Software Technologies Limited. I request to play the company's video, please.
Newgen is a very unique software product and solutions company. We started with a dream to promote one word, one workplace. That meant that people can work from anywhere. It has become an essential tool for most of the large organizations because they are geographically spread out and people are spread all over. And what we do is automate processes in between people and systems. And while automating the processes, we provide means to measure the productivity, the time taken, the SLAs, etc. And that leads to identifying the bottlenecks and also providing ways and means.
Well, I call upon Mr. Hemant Makhija, Vice President Marketing, Newgen Software, to come and receive the recognition tonight. And that was the last award, ladies and gentlemen, and very well deserved awards they were. May I now call on all the awardees for the night to step up on dais for that memorable photograph with our Honorable Minister. Can we hear it for the winners as they walk up to the dais, please? A star-studded dice right now, requesting all the winners to kindly take their places. May I please request our Honorable Chief Guest for the evening to stay on stage just for a moment. Our deepest gratitude to Sir for making this evening such a memorable one for each one of us present. We thank him for his invaluable time and his amazing presentation tonight, which was truly an inspiration. May I request the Managing Director, India Dun & Bradstreet, Mr. Manish Sinha, to felicitate our chief guest for the evening with a small token of our appreciation. Sir, your presence was the silver lining in the cloud today. And that brings us to the end of this event. May I please request everyone to take their seats? Can we hear it for our chief guest for the final time today? Thank you, sir. Your presence is an inspiration to each one of us. To raise the vote of thanks, I now call on Mr. Pankaj Khanna, Head, Learning and Economic Insights Group, Dun & Bradstreet, India, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. It is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks at the SME Business Excellence Awards 2019, organized by Dun & Bradstreet jointly with RBL Bank Limited. It was indeed a remarkable evening, witnessing the success of good, sustainable small and medium enterprises, as well as mid-corporate, only instills the thought that it's time to let the world know about their contribution to India's socio-economic and industrial development. It is only fitting for them to receive an award for such a distinguished dignitaries at today's award nights. I would like to begin by thanking our honorable dignitary for the evening, Shri Pratap Chandra Sarangi, Honorable Minister of State for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises and Animal Husbandry, Dairying and Fisheries, Government of India. Needless to say, this event wouldn't have been possible without the support of our esteemed business partners. To begin with, we would like to thank our title partner, RBL Bank Limited, for partnering with us for the 4th time in a row. Their sheer commitment to the SME sector is commendable, and we are honored to share the limelight with you. From RBL Bank Limited, we express our gratitude to Mr. Vincent, Head Commercial Banking, RBL Bank Limited, and the team at RBL Bank, and Mr. Prakash Chandra, Non-Executive Part-Time Chairman, RBL Bank, for supporting us. From Indian School of Business, we express our gratitude to Mr. Bose, Director of Admissions, Directors, Dean's Office, and Alumni Engagement. We would like to recognize our other partners for their contribution to today's event. Partners name: Principal Partner, Indian School of Business; Co-Partner, Zoho Corporation Private Limited; Co-Partner, Wilhelm Textiles India Private Limited; Co-Partner, Tata Teleservices Business Services; Co-Partner, The New India Assurance; Branding Partner, In-Space Technologies Private Limited; Branding Partner, Tally Solutions; Rating Partner, Smerak Ratings and Ratings Limited; Television Partner, ET Now. I extend my heartiest congratulations to all the award winners and all the companies that have been featured in the leading SMEs of India's 2019 publication for their exemplary performance. Needless to say, this wouldn't have been possible without the thorough scrutiny of our jury members. Thank you, sirs, for gracing the event with your presence. Finally, the success of today's event has largely been due to the presence of entrepreneurs such as yourselves in the audience. We thank you all for your time and enthusiastic participation. You're truly the epitome of entrepreneurship in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's event. We look forward to your company during the rest of the evening. Thank you.